Kia ora. Welcome to Poetry for Your Voice.
Amen.
Today we have a good guest from Tolaga,
Tokomaru Bay.
Bay,
Yes,
and he comes from Hamilton.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
as you might not believe it, but we met as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints,
Yeah, you keep
and
that a
we've
secret.
carried on together to become a part of the same music course.
That's right.
Yep. And so what brings you here today,
Yeah.
Rawiri?
I had to get the car service and a new warrant.
Yeah.
for my car, and then there were other things I had to do. I had to have blood test, and at the lab, and then
checking out a lawnmower machine.
Yeah, went checked out ride-on lawnmower down at the still shop.
Oh yeah,
Palmerston. Checked out the pies. Passed on the pies.
Oh yeah.
Then I've got some whakapapa at the printers, a big chart that I had to proofread, and I'm going to go back after with this podcast and just have a look. And then I went to town and did a couple of chores. I had to go and my laptop was broken, so they had to take all the data off it, put it in the hard drive.
So coming from a rural area, you got to try and make sure that you get everything done while you're in the city, right?
Yeah, I haven't been to town for 3 weeks.
3 weeks. 3 weeks out in the country.
3 weeks in Tokomaru Bay, so no KFC, no Burger King or nothing like that.
None of the top four up there.
No, fish and chips, and that's it.
Fish and chips, and that's it.
Yeah, and if you don't get there by 7 o'clock, it's closed.
So everything's closed at 7 o'clock.
It opens at 5:30, closes at 7 o'clock. That's 6:30 sometimes.
Avoid the queues.
Yeah, no, you got to get there early. So and there was one other job I had to do.
Don't forget it.
I had to go see the rock shop.
Oh yeah.
And then of course the wānanga and check in with the course.
The big T.
Taina. Because I want to enroll for next year.
Yeah.
And I'm going to enroll my missus for the course too.
Right. So Mrs. Gilgan is going to be doing this course.
She's going to do the course. She'll start basic. So she's more of a she's going to do. She teaches and she kind of does this sort of stuff. I don't think she does podcasts.
I did have a talk to your wife about the reasons why. She does yoga classes, doesn't she?
Yeah, she teaches yoga online and in person, and she does sort of health hoodies. I call it witchcraft, really. So it's like broom seminars.
So what she did is she explained to me that she wants to put her own musical backgrounds into her yoga fitness classes.
Yeah, she wants to compose or do original music and voiceovers for her yoga class.
Yeah.
So I thought
that was a great reason to want to join our class. We do the performing arts degree, is it? Yeah, it goes as far as
it'll be the degree is in performing arts.
Performing arts.
What is it called?
Māori
performing arts.
Yeah, Māori performing arts. That's what we do. Arts. We can call it music. But it breaks in and it includes music producing, MCing,
creating. You
can play the piano, you can play the guitar,
all instruments, and it's all Taina's our sort of supervisor.
Yeah, Taina Keelan, you can type him into YouTube and he'll come up with a lot of songs that he's produced over the years.
Yeah, and so he's our kaiako. So he's the one that supervises what we're doing.
Yep,
and we're really left to do what we want.
Yep, really.
It's we can do as much as we want or do nothing.
Yeah.
Some of them don't do anything.
Yeah, well, therein lies the trap to it.
If you're not, you haven't seen Lucky for a while. He's out of luck.
Yeah, he got COVID.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he got COVID too.
Was he alive?
His wife come back from India, and he went on a bit of a downward spiral for a little while there, and then he's picked up a bit now.
Yeah, because he started off pretty. He was keen, but then we haven't seen him. But if he's had COVID, well, that's a good reason.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, he's a long-term friend of Tyner's who knows him from back in his days when he was in Wellington. So.
Oh, okay. Down in
I don't know
TK Bay in the Bay, Puriwa Basin.
A place called Hippopotamus or something. Because Lockie used to be a chef.
Oh, it must have been like a venue.
Yeah, no, he was actually a 5-star.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, he probably,
chef.
He probably could sell butter chicken.
Hey,
lamb
korma. There's plenty of people out there that fall for a plate of butter chicken.
Tandoori.
But a tandoori.
That's some bloody old naan breeds.
Yeah.
Cook up the naans.
So what are you by profession?
Well, I'm retired by profession.
Retired league player.
Retired. Yeah, no, not league.
Over?
No. I'm retired. Just tired.
The tired part of retired. They put the tired and retired.
And it's all well now. Rongo is all the things. So and Rongo Māori is that's another form of witchcraft.
So what I want to get at is he spent some time as a general doctor. He's a GP.
In Australia. I trained 37 years. I worked as a GP.
As a GP.
Yeah, and that's long enough. I think it was 37 years, but it felt like maybe 67 years. Yeah. So
what would be the most contagious diagnosis that you've ever come across?
Contagious.
Yeah, contagious.
It's like flu probably, but the most dangerous contagious infection I ever treated were meningococcal meningitis in little kids.
Oh yeah,
they can die from that real fast.
And so can adults, right? Too.
Yeah, adults can. I don't think I ever saw it in an adult. I only saw it in babies.
Right.
And streptococcal meningitis also deadly. And so I have seen
scabies. Did you ever see scabies?
Scabies? Oh, this is normal.
Scabies
and cooties were just normal.
Oh, right.
To give out buckets. No. Where I worked, it was normal.
Yeah.
And so cooties and that was just. I mean, I think half the people were allergic to soap and water. They had soap and water allergies. I had to show them how the water.
Doctor, there's something wrong. I can't stop scratching.
Have you tried soap and water? And the haki-hakis? Oh, man, it was terrible. Shit. I used to get stuck into them. I'll give you a prescription for some bloody Palmolive Gold. No, it's true. I'm not joking, man. Oh, shit. Have you seen this flannel? Have you seen the flannel? Then you put the soap on it in the water and then you go like this. Oh, that'd be bloody terrible. Yeah. And the cooties, oh man, cooties. And then my kids got the cooties because they all going to bloody kura with them. Oh, terrible, man. Yeah,
did you I suppose you would have seen it, but what's that disease where the body parts fall off in the ears and the nose? Jesus Christ healed 10 of them and only one.
Oh, leopards.
Leprosy.
No, you don't see leprosy.
No,
it's not. It's in northern Queensland. It's in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
There's leprosy in Australia, but it's a tropical disease. You don't see it in New Zealand.
Oh yeah, that's good.
It's a cousin to tuberculosis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the TB. I saw TB. I've seen TB. I've seen real serious TB on the East Coast. In fact, I had to get tested because.
Right.
But I've had, when I was back in the 60s when we were kids, we all got BCGs.
Right.
Māori kids got BCGs, which is a protection against TB.
Yeah.
Pākehās
was that a worldwide pandemic?
Oh, TB was deadly. Yeah, killed millions of people.
I got my scar on my
Have you? Whereabouts? Oh, yeah, you've got it. Yeah, you would have got one.
It's a little star circle. Some people, they come up with just a welt.
Yeah, it's a BCG.
Actual, you can still see the needle prints.
Yeah, if you have a screening, if you're exposed to TB and you have a MAN2 test, yours will be positive, like mine.
Oh, okay.
It means they've
injected the virus into us, so
our
immune system can defeat it.
So we've got immunity. So we have.
They've stopped doing that though, eh?
Well, it's gone.
I mean,
don't
like
see
for general, like they
TV,
used
you
to
don't
the
see
flu virus. They used to inject the flu virus into you so your immune system could do the same thing.
Yeah. Flu vaccines are relatively, they've only come out since I trained, but BCGs was a long time ago because they were killers, killed a lot of people. But I've never seen
the injection themselves killed a lot of people.
No, the
disease,
the TB, TB. They used to have huge hospitals with just TB people, but that's before they had treatment. So they'd go there and they die. They called it the 100-day cough.
Right.
You cough for 100 days
and
then
you're
you
dead.
fucking die. It's the 100-day cough. A lot of people died from it, man.
TB,
Yeah. And some people survived. If you survive, then your lungs are scarred. But the thing is, cows get TB. Animals get it.
Yeah. So a possum can get TB and it's rolling around on the field, and the fucking cow sniffs it because it's curious as to what it is.
It jumps across.
The jumps across to the cow, and then the fucking person milks the
TB,
cow.
Yep.
And
it's, but you don't see it now. It's mainly this COVID's the new one. Flu's around.
What do you think about that? Was that intentionally released, or was that just a natural fucking
well, I don't know.
Anthrax come out of the fucking ground a spore.
I think bats had it. Like, it's an RNA virus, and there are thousands of RNA viruses. I mean, you go down to the beach and get a cup of water. There are thousands of viruses in our beach,
right?
Any beach,
without them fucking flushing.
But they don't affect us. Yeah, without sewage. Just a cup of water. It looks clean. Like you can't see the virus, but there's thousands in that glass of water,
right,
of a beach. But those are viruses that don't affect us.
Okay.
They affect fish and animals and that,
okay.
And they don't affect us. But the occasional virus will mutate and jump to humans. HIV is one. The AIDS virus that jumped to humans.
So when the COVID. Just on that, when AIDS came out, I think I might have been standard 4.
Yeah, well, AIDS came out about 1980.
Yeah, and we had a teacher who was Canadian, and she says there's a new virus out. It's very deadly, and it is transmitted by body fluids, and you can't kiss people through saliva.
Blood transfusions. It was mainly hemophiliacs who were getting, they have to use byproducts, blood products to stop them from bleeding to death.
Okay.
And then people are having
because they
blood
don't
transfusions.
They don't have that stuff that makes the blood coagulate, or is it?
Oh, yeah. They don't have anti. They don't have the blood factors in the body to. Usually, it's factor 8 is what they don't have, and it's a part of a cascade that helps your blood clot. They don't have that, so when they get cut, they just bleed and won't stop.
And the AIDS virus is a deficiency to the white blood cell, or
that's what it affects. It affects your immune system, and then your white cells just can't fight infection, so you die of
everything that you can catch.
Anything that it's like leukemia.
Okay.
So it kills the white cells, which are the immune system.
Just fucking shrink away. And
but that was nothing. That was a monkey virus. That was an RNA virus.
A monkey virus.
And there still isn't a vaccine for it.
No, but there
still isn't a vaccine.
They can't cure the fucking thing, eh?
Well, no, they've got drugs now. They didn't have the drugs to start with, but they have drugs that control it and keep it from getting worse. Because a lot of.
What do you think's God's role in AIDS? Is that his way of punishing gay people?
No.
That's your professional opinion of the matter?
There's 1,000%. No, God's got nothing to do with it. That's nature. I mean, if God is nature, then yes. But nature, it's just. I mean, I think it's it came from monkeys, and I think it came from Africa. So 1 + 1.
So are the humans fornicating with monkeys in order for it to
that's one. Or they thought camels. The Arabs
humping a camel over
in the desert. They were getting a bit sort of, at night.
Drowsy at night.
At night when it was dark, they get a bit amorous with the camel. But they were sparring. Yeah, they were. And that's the theory. But the HIV virus mutated and went to humans.
Right.
And there's others like that. There's the
so they're just a symbiote inside the animal.
Right.
A symbiote, like a
host. Yeah. Well, it's it affects the monkey. There are other viruses.
Oh, it does kill the monkey off?
Yes, that does the same thing to the monkeys, but of course it never affected humans until the 1980s. Suddenly it was gay people, gay men in, because that's where they
in Africa.
Actually in America.
San Francisco.
But then they were able to trace it back to Africa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that virus. But there's another virus that kills people. It's and that's been in West Africa. In Liberia and Sierra Leone.
Oh, that's the
that's called the
Ebola.
Yeah, Ebola. And there are a couple of others that are deadly. Like if you catch that, you die.
Yeah.
Because there's no treatment and there's no vaccine.
Yeah. Anthrax is one, but it comes out of a spore in a mushroom, and it's got to be like 90 degrees, so much humidity.
It's usually people have usually manipulated it and then poisoned people with anthrax. But anthrax is very deadly too. But I've never seen that. We'll never see that. You don't see it in New Zealand.
Did you ever witness any babies with whooping cough?
Yeah, should you?
It's a terrible, terrible, sad thing to watch, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is.
Like a baby suffering.
It's everything swells up in their throat, and they've got little throats, and so it's hard to breathe.
Right.
So it's not very nice watching a baby with whooping cough. I've never seen one that was deadly. But you just get them vaccinated pretty quick, and then you vaccinate the people around them too.
Okay.
Yeah, but those things are it's all about vaccinations. Vaccinations change the world. That's why there's bloody 9 billion people on Earth. 9 billion. Yeah.
And it's only going to get quicker, more people overpopulated faster.
Medical science just keeps saving people. And, people who would otherwise die, diabetics and all that, we've got all the treatment now.
What's the answer to that?
Diabetes.
No. The answer to the heart and the nature of man is to try and save whatever's fucking dying. But we're doing that in a disservice to ourselves, because those that would normally die and leave more for the people that would naturally live.
Yeah, I mean, we've sort of, in some areas, technology has meant that people live longer and are not as broke as they used to be. So, but a third of the world is hungry. A third of the world's population is hungry. I think it's a third.
Right.
And 2/3 is 2/3 is hungry and 1/3 is overfed.
Right.
Now, a third of the world eats too much. 2/3 is starving.
Is that because
there's imbalance in food distribution, food security? No. All you have to do is redistribute that food, and everyone gets a fair share.
Right.
But because they're starving in like Sudan, they're starving in all these poor countries. But when there's a war, suddenly everyone's got a gun. They might be starving, but they've got plenty of guns and bullets.
Yeah.
You can't eat those.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
And that's what's happening over in Israel at the moment. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's terrible. I mean, I've had to witness. I was thinking about it the other night, and I've been witnessing war crimes my whole life. I was born at the beginning of the Vietnam War, and until it finished, had been alive through the whole of that Vietnam War to 1975. And then I've had to watch the Middle East wars. I've had to watch wars in
Afghanistan,
in Cambodia. There's Cambodia. There's wars in Africa. There's wars in the Middle East. There's wars. Korea. That finished before I was born. And then in the 1990s, we watched 900 people get slaughtered in Rwanda. 900,000 people were killed, murdered
in Rwanda.
Yeah, in Rwanda. In the 1990s, in Kigali, that was the Hutus the Hutus and the it was the
Zulus,
Tutsis or something.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, they slaughtered each other there, and the Catholic Church, because that was a Christian country, it was all Catholic, run by Catholics. They just all stood back, and 900 people were killed, 900,000 murdered, and then America stepped in, said stop. but I've had to look at those were war crimes. I remember in 1972 at the Munich Olympics when the Palestinians went to the Israeli Olympic camp, the village, this athletes' village, and they kidnapped the Israelis and they held them hostage during the Olympics, and then they got a helicopter because they were flying them out, and they all got in the helicopter and they threw a hand grenade and killed all Israeli athletes. 1972, Palestinians did that.
Far out. I didn't even hear about.
No, you won't know that. I mean, that was in the days when there was no security at the Olympics.
Oh.
That's 1972.
1972.
And my parents had been to Munich before that Olympics, to the Olympic Village, and they brought back a little medal from, a little medallion, and they gave it to me. But then the Olympics happened, so I saw that. What else have I seen? Well, I've seen 9/11.
9/11.
I've had to watch Yugoslavia. I've had to watch Serbia and Croatia kill each other.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was there was ethnic cleansing.
Yeah.
Just going through and murdering
Serbia
people.
and Albania.
Yeah, that's all Slobodan Milosevic.
And then the three leaders that were killed, Hussein, that other guy with the shades, he used to wear the shades, the flight glasses.
Yeah.
The three of them. There was Saddam Hussein.
Oh yeah, there's Muammar Gaddafi. I had to watch Gaddafi in Libya. I've had to watch Saddam Hussein in Iraq.
Yeah,
I've seen the revolution in Iran. My brother, he in 1979, he left for his mission in November, and a week later, they went and kidnapped all those Americans. Took them to they went into the embassy in Tehran and held hostage all the Americans that were working in Tehran and Iran. That was the Ayatollah. So the point is, I've been watching war crimes my whole life.
Your whole life.
And the latest one were the Palestinians jumping over the fence,
kidnapping 200 Israelis.
Kidnapping 200, taking 200 Israelis hostage, and then indiscriminately going through villages, killing and murdering people like babies.
Yeah.
And cutting them up and stabbing them. And
rape is one of the foremost crimes too. Like what they do to the woman, and then they let them go.
That was like last week. So it's horrible. It's terrible.
Yeah, it is.
It's terrible. And now everyone's saying, "Oh, Israel, they shouldn't go and bomb the Gaza." Well, no, of course they shouldn't. But what do they do? I mean, what do you do if your neighbor, for 75 years since Israel was created, for 75 years, the war started against Israel, and the year they declared Israel a state in 1948. That's when they started fighting. They've been fighting for 75 years. There've been like serious wars, and then there's been guerrilla wars. But the Israelis are surrounded by, the Arab world who hate them,
right?
Who want them gone.
Yeah, and always have been. Like it's gone way back to David and Goliath, isn't it?
Well, it started in the bloody Garden of Eden when Cain killed his brother.
Yeah.
It started back then, and then Moses was in. He was raised in Egypt, but then they wanted to come out of Egypt, and then Joseph, his brothers, they come out of it. Then the Babylonians, Judea was occupied, the Romans, and then the Byzantines, and then the Muslims, the Ottomans, and the Jews. They all took off. They went. The Jewish people.
Yeah.
They went up to Russia, they went to Europe, they went all over to Africa, they went everywhere. So the Jews left their home. It'd be like the Maori saying, "Well, that's enough, we're out of here."
A fair amount of them ended up in Germany too, right? And that's where everywhere. The problem was, because between what Hitler believed was they were taking over his country, right?
The world believes that Jews. There's a conspiracy. It's called anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is a disease where everyone blames everything on Jewish people.
Is it real?
No, it's bullshit. It's conspiracy. No, Jews are the ones who've been persecuted for thousands of years.
Including
they piss people off because they're clever.
Oh.
They've had to develop and because they weren't allowed to have jobs. So what they got into lending money.
Okay.
Because they weren't allowed to work. They were banned. They were like animals.
Okay.
And they've been treated like animals for hundreds of years. And so now some Jews stayed in
Israel,
Judea or Palestine,
and
they converted to Islam. And that's the Palestinians. They're Jews.
Okay.
They're the same people.
I thought they were the people that listened to Herod. King Herod was a Palestinian, wasn't he?
Well,
and then the
King Herod was a Jew.
The Pharisees. Oh?
There's a Jew. King Herod was a Jew.
Oh.
They were Jews.
Jesus to
the Herods were Jews. The Davids were Jews. So there were two lines that were the royal lines, and the Herods were the kings when Jesus was alive. But before Jesus, before the Herods were the Davids, and the Davids were from King David, and that's Jesus through his father Joseph, through his mortal father, like through not God, but through his Joseph was a direct descendant of David. Yeah. But Jesus is a Jew. The Herods were Jews. They're all Jews. But what happened was when the Jews all took off, some stayed in Israel. Well, it wasn't Israel. Some stayed in Palestine. They became the Palestinians. Palestinians and all the Jews that are coming back from overseas to live in Israel, the DNA is the same. That's why Palestinians don't want to go live in Saudi or Jordan or Egypt, because they're Palestinians. But Jews are Palestinians. It's just that they follow. Well, they got a different religion. They're not Muslims.
They don't believe in Zion.
Who?
What's the difference between Muslim and Jew? Because Jews aren't Christians, right?
No, Jews are Jews. Their religion is Judaism. They believe in one God. They believe in one God.
Heaven?
They believe in heaven. But the Muslims too. But the Muslims is from Muhammad and the Quran. It's about 600 AD. Islam is quite a new religion. And of course, all the Arabs converted to Islam, and Indonesians and people in Africa and Spain, they were all the Moors. But what I'm saying is Palestinians and Jews, they're one and the same. It's just that the Palestinians never left. They're the ones that stayed, and they converted because they were told, if you don't convert, we're going to kill you. You can't be a Jew in Palestine. You've got to be a Muslim. And because now the Jews are all coming back with their religion because they kept practicing their Judaism
outside of
they have the Sabbaths, they do circumcision, they eat special foods, they got all these rules. They have a synagogue, they have the menorah, they light the candles for the Passover. See, Muslims don't do that because it's a different religion.
Yeah,
Muslims have the Hajj and they have the Ramadan and they have all these, and they speak Arabic. So the Palestinian Jews who stayed, they can't talk to because the Jews speak Hebrew, and Yiddish. Yeah, but they're the same people. It's like Maori. It's like Maori coming back from Australia, being in Australia, and now they're coming back to New Zealand. And everything. Oh, fuck off back to Australia. But they're Maoris.
Yeah. We don't do that though.
No, we don't. But there hasn't been thousands of years.
No. Wow.
See, it hasn't been thousands. They haven't been gone, and they haven't been persecuted. I mean, they have a good life in Aussie. They're never going to. A lot of them not going to come back. But so I'm saying that. So the solution is Jews and Palestinians live in their country together in harmony. There's no harmony. The Palestinians say the Jews shouldn't be here. We hate their guts. We want to kill them. And unfortunately, the Palestinians sided with Hitler. Their leader, who was the Mufti of Jerusalem, the Grand Mufti, he went to Hitler and said, we hate Jews like you. And Hitler said, don't worry, we're going to kill them all. And when we've killed them all, you can have Palestine. And of course they lost, and of course the Mara Battalion had something to do with that loss. It was Rommel who was sweeping across Africa. The Turks were coming down through the Middle East and they were going to meet in Egypt after conquering. In El Alamein, Rommel got stopped by the 28th Mara Battalion. And that's where their grand plan of getting rid of the Jews come to an end, because that was really when the tide turned on Hitler, and that was in 1941 in Africa. And Rommel, because he's a great general. And he had all these tanks, and they were just sweeping across the desert. Right. But in Libya is where El Alamein is. Right. That's where they got stopped. You can look it up. It was the Mara Battalion. It was the Mara Battalion. It was fellas from here that stopped Rommel. Yeah. Rommel went back to Berlin to see Hitler. Hitler said, "Go and say goodbye to your family, because you are going to suicide, or we will execute you." And Rommel suicided. Right. He had to, because he'd lost. So Hitler's grand plan, and then of course
failed.
Well, and the Palestinians, they're sitting in Palestine going, "Well, what are we going to do now? Oh shit!" And then when Hitler lost the war, when Germany lost the war, Britain, who had promised all the Jews that they could go back to Israel, that's what happened. They all went back to Israel, and they created Israel in 1948.
Wow.
And that is the history. And the Palestinians and the Jews are the same people. They're related to each other. They have different religions, because one lot stayed, the other lot disappeared. It came back, and it's been going for 75 years. And the Arabs have all ganged up on Israel. Israel don't have many friends. Well, America's their friend, because a lot of those Jews come from America. And Britain, and so it's Christians, but it's not Christians.
Where does Russia play in this whole thing?
Well, Russia, they killed a lot of Jews. There were a lot of Jews in Russia, but the Russians were allies with, in the First World War, they were allies, and they were allies in the Second World War too.
Until they turned on each other.
Well,
Germany and Russia.
Well, in the First World War, the Bolsheviks took over. They killed the Tsar in 1917. And
I thought that was backed by the English or something.
Well, no. Well, the Tsar was actually a cousin to the King George, and he'd asked for asylum in England, and the King said no, and so the Bolsheviks killed the Tsar.
Right.
But all those royal families related in Europe.
Oh, okay.
And so once the Bolsheviks had taken over Russia, they pulled out of the First World War, but they had talks with France and Britain about what was going to happen to the Arabs. If you've seen the movie Lawrence of Arabia, that's what it's about. Okay. Lawrence of Arabia is about that double cross, about the Russians pulling out and the French and the British promising the Arabs their country, because the Arabs wanted ISIS. They wanted one big country,
right?
And is
that what ISIS means?
Yeah, ISIS is about
so that was the
Islamic
last
State, and the Islamic State is one grand.
These guys are Hamas. That one was ISIS. They destroyed. They reckon.
Yeah, well, Hamas. They're all terrorists. They all hate. They're all Islamic terrorists. So they're all follow the Islam, the Quran. Trouble is Islam. Look, they've got so many factions. They all hate each other. If they're not, the only thing they're unified about is killing Jews. Otherwise, they're all fighting each other. Right. They hate each other.
Yeah.
In fact, they give all their money to Jews to look after, because they can't trust each other.
Bank.
Yeah, that's the Saudis. All their bankers are Jews. Anyway, so you got all these bloody Arabs. And it's the Egyptians. They attack Israel 1948, 1967, 1973, the 1990s. They attack Israel, and Israel kicks their ass every time.
Every time.
And so they've all made friends with Israel now. Egypt's friends, Jordan's friends, even Saudi, Arab Emirates. They're all friends with Israel now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what's happened now, even the Palestinians had signed treaties. But what happens is extremists kill the leaders. Anwar Sadat, who was the president of Egypt, signed a peace treaty with Israel, with Menachem Begin. Jimmy Carter was the mediator. Camp David. They signed it. This is 1978. Right. They signed it, and they shook hands. Palestinians, Yasser Arafat, shake hands to Menachem Begin. And 3 years later, big war. They
can't agree on disagreeing.
No, well, and then Anwar Sadat, he got shot. His own men killed the president of Egypt. Same thing. They assassinate their leaders.
That seems to be the pattern work here.
Well, they don't want peace. They don't want peace. Truly, it's
Marcus Garvey was sold for rice, apparently.
Yeah, well, all Palestinians want is every Jew on earth to be dead. That's all they want, and they've sworn that. It's not a secret.
So we as Christians are classed as Jews?
Well, we're Gentiles, but no, we're not Jews, because Jews call us Gentiles. The Christians are Gentiles. We're non-believers. I mean, we follow Jesus, who the Christians don't believe, who the Jews do not believe has come. Jews are waiting. Yeah, and the Jews are waiting for Jesus. They say the Messiah hasn't come. Messiah is still coming.
Still on his way.
Well, we think he's come.
Because he's the second coming, and then what? We're going to agree.
The Jews.
We're going to say that that's just the first time he's arrived.
Yeah, no, Jesus
and we're going to say that's the second time he's
arrived. The Jews' calendar, they're in the year 5700, not 2020.
5700
since
BC.
Adam. No, just from the Garden of Eden. I mean, the Jews, if you look up...
Before the birth of Christ.
No, there's no Christ. The Jews don't believe Jesus never been.
Yeah, but us now, we live AD and
well, we believe Jesus came at zero.
To the Jews, this period of time is what we would recognize as BC.
We're 2023, so we're 2023.
They're
like
5,000.
They're 5,800 something. That's their calendar.
It's interesting.
Today, that's their calendar. And they have their Sabbath is a Saturday. The Muslim Sabbath is a Friday. Our Sabbath is a Sunday. And they have Ramadan. Muslims have Ramadan, the fasting. They have the Hajj. They have a number of different celebrations. And then the Jews have the Passover, and they have Yom Kippur, which is just last week. And Christians, we have Christmas and Easter.
Right.
That's what we celebrate. Those are our Christian celebrations.
Yeah.
But the Jews, I mean, I'm on the side of the Jews. Okay. I am. I mean, my father is Jewish, and my father-in-law is Jewish.
Right.
So I've got to be on their side.
I'm on the side of the Jews because I just don't agree with what the Muslims do to people.
No, and
they're barbaric.
They're the common denominator in all these problems. There's not many problems in the world where there's not Muslims involved.
Yeah, I'm into
there's
that
a few.
Frame of mind too. The common denominator.
Yeah, because in Yugoslavia, the Serbs were Jews.
Yeah,
were Muslims. The Croats were, and then they're all different factions.
Mm-hmm.
So everywhere you look, the Muslims, now there's some exceptions, but not many. Wherever you look, it's bloody Muslims doing something stupid.
Okay, I'm going to move into a different topic now. Let's try politics.
Well, what's the time? No, I've got time.
You've got time?
What sort of politics?
Recently, we've just had the election, and fucking Nationals are in.
Yeah.
After all the years of supposedly good work that Labor's been putting into, now they're going to come in and fucking get rid of all this shit. Wow. What's going on here?
Well, I think, but for Winston Peters, there would not have been the Labor government. It would have been Bill English and the National government in 2017. It's only because Winston went with Jacinda Ardern, who was a minority.
Right.
New Zealanders have voted against Labor since Helen Clark left, because Helen Clark just destroyed. I left New Zealand because of Helen Clark. I didn't want to be in a country that she was the leader of. So because she took the seabed and foreshore. She confiscated 25 million acres of Māori land.
Right.
Helen Clark did that.
Yeah.
And she did it with John Tamahere, Nanaia Mahuta, and Joe Hawke.
Yeah.
And all these guys.
All these fucking Māori taking Māoris.
Tariana said no.
Right.
And she went and formed the Māori Party.
Right.
That's when the Māori Party started, with Tariana saying no to the seabed and foreshore.
Right.
That was in 2004.
Right.
So, but that cooked Labor. I mean, Pākehās liked it.
Right.
And that's why Labor stayed in. That's why Helen Clark stayed in. But everyone, the Court of Appeal, the United Nations, the Waitangi Tribunal, they all said to Helen Clark, "You are doing the wrong thing."
Okay.
She didn't listen.
No.
And we had a big hikoi. I was on the hikoi to Wellington, waving big flags. Stop, don't do that. I saw John Tamahere sit with Helen Clark. I saw him sitting over there.
Yeah.
And Tariana was over there with her supporters,
Right.
which was us.
Yeah.
So we supported the Māori Party.
Are you still a supporter of the Māori Party?
No,
No?
because John Tamihere is the president.
Yeah, but that other guy with the full facials in there, what's his name?
Well, that's John Tamihere's son-in-law. He's married to John's daughter.
Isn't he actually saying the right things?
Yeah, he does. Look, he's a kapahaka fella. He can sing, he can do kapahaka, and he can kōrero. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, though. If you listen to him.
He's putting it in his brain.
No.
Is it the woman that are putting it in his brain?
No, it's John Tamihere. John Tamihere hates the Labour Party.
Right.
He actually tried to go back to the Labour. He sued the Labour Party so that he could join it again.
Yeah.
But he called Tariana and Helen Clark and all those women who were on the front bench of the Labour, he called them the front bums.
Right.
That's John Tamihere.
Okay, and now he's fucking sitting.
Well, now he's the head of the Māori, but John Tamihere will go with National. He would go with National.
Right.
See, people don't realise this.
Right.
He cannot be trusted.
Okay.
I'd rather trust Winston.
But he went with National when everybody thought he was going to go with Labour right there in the first place. Winston Peters. Remember when he first came on as
but he was part of, he's always been National. He was a National Party MP. I remember his first election was the first election I voted in 1978. And he ran in a seat called Hanua, which is in Papakura, just east of Papakura. It's all those hills where the water is.
Right.
And he fought for that. He had a recount, and he went to court, to High Court, and eventually he won.
Right.
Winston. That's
right.
Winston Peters.
Yes.
So he's a Māori fella. National Party. He's national.
Right.
He wasn't on the Māori seat.
Yeah.
He'd never been in a Māori seat.
And he said he wasn't forming his own party then.
No, and he was a national, and Muldoon liked him, and then they went 1981. That was 78. It was national government. 81 was the national government. And then 84 was David Longhey and Roger Douglas and those guys. They took over.
Yep.
And we all voted for Labour in that election. We want to get rid of Muldoon.
Yeah, because he's a cunt.
But Winston was in Tauranga, and he was still the MP. Tauranga was always national.
Yeah.
And Winston went from Hanua, and Muldoon liked him. He says, we'll put you in a safe seat, Tauranga. And Winston was the MP in Tauranga right up until 1993. When the MMP came in. Now Winston was the one that lobbied for MMP. It's Winston that's
no one was first past the place.
Nobody wanted MMP.
No?
National, no, parties didn't want MMP. Rich people didn't want MMP.
They saw it coming, the Kingmaker thing.
Well, it was about proportionality and referenda, and it was about a fair democracy, letting little people have a say, like you know the Māori Party.
Yeah.
So Winston, he went with Jim Bolger in 1993. 1990 actually. 1990, Winston was National Party.
Yeah.
And then he formed the New Zealand First Party.
Right.
And in 1996, all the Maori seats were New Zealand First. And I was sitting next to Tuku Morgan when he found out he was, because we were at Te Rapa at the Air Force Base, because I promoted Tuku Morgan. Right. And that was actually Nanaya's first election. She lost. Tuku beat her. But Tuku Tauhenere was in Northern Māori. Tuku was in Eastern Māori. There was John Delamere, Rana Waitai, and Tu Wiley.
Uh-huh.
And the whole country was New Zealand First in the Māori seats.
Yeah.
So they were the first Māori party.
So here we are. We had today, we started off with that nephew of Tukuirangi Morgan's, no? It's the guy with the full facial muka on the Māori party.
No, that's John Tamihere's fucking
John Tamihere's. So he's a
nice fella. I met him. I like him. Nobody watches him. He's a good fella.
He's one of Tynan's friends too.
Yeah, I like him.
And he was the only one standing in Parliament at the time.
Now
we've got four. Now we've got four, right?
Yeah, well, that's on Saturday. Yeah, they could have more. Yeah, they've got 4 Māori seats. But you see, John Tamihere, he was disparaging toward Tariana Turia and the Māori Party. John Tamihere was a minister of Māori Affairs.
Yeah, okay.
He was a minister in the cabinet of Helen Clark, who stole 25 million acres of our land.
Yeah.
They stole it, bro. Yeah. They changed it, you know.
Do we get it back?
No, we haven't got it back. No, we haven't got it back. We haven't got it back. What happened was they passed this act in 2004, and all the seabed and foreshore to 12 miles, which is 25 nautical miles, became parkies. The Crown took it.
Yeah.
And
so what did that entitle them to be able to do as parkies to our newly lost acreage?
Well, it means they can charge rent at the ports. You know, the ports of Auckland, the ports of Tauranga, the ports of Gisborne. See, all of that would have belonged to Māori.
Right.
All that seabed and foreshore would have been Māori land.
Were we charging for it at the time, or was it just because they became
a fellow called Pat Ray and Matthew Ray, they took the government. They were great. They had some mussel farms down in the Marlborough Sounds, and they were growing. They had, because that's their takutai moana.
Right.
And someone said, you can't do that because that doesn't belong to you. And so they went to court.
Fucking got upset about it.
Well, they went to the Maryland court. And the Maryland court was, no, hang on, let's look through all the laws. Hang on, no, that's your land. Then the Crown appealed, and they went to the Murray Appellate Court. And the Murray Appellate Court said, no, that's your land. So they went to the High Court. High Court said, that's Murray land. They went to the court of the Crown kept going. The Crown said, no, we'll take to the next level, we'll take to the Court of Appeal. The judge in the Court of Appeal, who was Sean Elias, she said, this is Māori land. Helen Clark said, oh, not anymore. We're going to change the law.
What did she do? Go to the Privy Council or what?
No, she didn't. Well, they could have gone to the Privy Council. The Privy Council was still in force in 2004. She said, we're not going to they would have lost in the Privy Council. Privy Council would have told them.
No longer any type of judicial
nothing.
Hierarchy
no,
anymore.
They changed. No, the government changed the law.
Okay.
They brought in this act, the Seabed and Foreshore Act.
Right. I understand that about it. And we're still processing that as Māori?
No, the land governments have the authority to change the law, and they took the land. They took all the seabed and foreshore. They were scared that if Māori got all that seabed and foreshore, we start charging. It belongs to us.
Yeah.
And we'll tell parkies you can't go on that beach.
All of the wharves belong to us.
The whole coast
of
New Zealand. There's Māori, 25 million. Now what happened was, okay, Tania does that. And then what happens, the Maori Party is successful.
Mm-hmm.
Tariana gets in. She has a Maori Party MPs.
Yeah.
I left New Zealand. I'd gone because Helen Clark was still there.
Bitch.
Yeah, I took off. No, I just wait till she's dead or she had a government.
Yeah.
So I left, and then National came in.
Okay.
The National, John Key.
Yeah.
He came in.
Right.
And he came in 2008. I'd already left.
Okay.
So Helen Clark lost.
Yeah.
Like New Zealand had a guts full of her.
Yeah.
2000, this fellow called John Key, never heard of him. I was in Australia. I don't know who he was.
Right.
And he formed a government. New Zealand first helped him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said he was going to repeal the seabed and foreshore.
Right.
And then the Māori Party went with John Key in 2014. And that's when Hone Arawira walked out. He said, I don't want to sit with them. And Hone went back to Mana Māori. I was a candidate for Mana Māori in 1996.
Okay.
On the list.
Right.
So Hone, who I know all these people.
Yeah.
And then, so what happened was in 2014, John Key said we will repeal that Seabed and Foreshore Act and bring in the Takutai Moana Act.
Right.
Now that'll give Māori an opportunity to a 3-year window to claim their ownership, kaitiakitanga of the seabed and foreshore. And it's only going to be like 3 miles or something.
Where does your advice sit for the new generation who sees that and wants to take it up on a cause and try to make the steps necessary to get it back?
Truly, bro, it's a waste of time.
Really?
Yeah, big waste of time. All you do is you end up in the grave before your time.
Stress.
Yes. That's what killed Moana Jackson. Moana Jackson was fighting his whole life for this thing. And then when Helen Clark changed the law in 2004, Moana Jackson just packed in his bag, went back to Waimana, and he died.
Broken heart, broken soul.
Yes.
Just
because
a broken man.
They've been fighting the crown. They think they're getting ahead. They think, and then you get these fellas coming along. It's actually a waste of time.
Huh?
Fighting is a waste of time. It's better to do music.
Now, one more topic I wanted, if you've got the time, is sport.
Oh,
as you know, the fucking World Cup's on. They were praising the Irish and hailing them as number one.
No, well, you can't deny that they've beat the All Blacks fair and square when they were here. I mean, we had all these years in Chicago. It was a B team All Blacks, Brady wasn't playing. There was half the team was out, and they lost in Chicago. That's the first time Ireland's beaten the All Blacks. Was a game in Chicago.
Just the one game?
Yeah, it was just a one-off game.
Don't we put it at test match when you're playing against the fucking team like the All Blacks? It's not set out on the one game. It's set out on
no. But it was an exhibition game. It was for Americans, and the Americans all went to Chicago Chicago Field. It's called something Field. It's where the Chicago Bears they all play. It's all Americans and Kiwis all went to Chicago. The All Blacks were on their way to England to play in a series in the UK. They agreed to play Ireland in Chicago. So all these Americans go to the Chicago Field. Watch the All Blacks
exhibition game.
Well, it is an exhibition. It doesn't count.
No.
It's a test, but it don't count.
It's fuck all because
and Americans don't know what rugby is. They're all excited. They want to watch the All Blacks. Well, they think, everyone said these All Blacks are pretty good. They're the world champions. They get beaten. Americans walk out of there going, Ireland's the best team in the world. The Americans don't know.
They're fucked.
Now, okay, so that's a one-off, so we can kind of put it out of our head.
Yeah.
Then Ireland come to New Zealand on a 3-test series.
After how many tests did the All Blacks play before they played the test with Ireland? Did they play South Africa earlier on in the year? Did they play Australia earlier on in the year? What I'm trying to get at is the All Blacks played 10 months of the year.
Yeah.
Did they play Ireland at the end of that 10 months or at the beginning of that 10 months?
It was at the end of our season.
Yeah.
It was
so they were depleted of energy and fucking resources and all sorts of shit.
No, at the end of your season, that's when you should be at your peak.
You should be. Yeah.
Well, it should be. Beginning is when you're sort of struggling with your team combinations. So Ireland come here at the beginning of their season when they shouldn't be peaking. Beautiful. They come to New Zealand. They lose the first test. New Zealand beat them.
Yeah.
And then they win the second test, and we think, that was a tin ass.
Right.
We'll win the third test.
Yeah.
And they bloody flogged us. And all the top players were there. There's no excuse. They humiliated the All Blacks in their third test.
Okay.
I can't remember where it was played, probably Eden Park. Oh, no, it wasn't Eden Park because they've never lost at Eden Park. And they lost the third test. And Ireland were the number one in the world. And that's only a couple of, that was last year.
They've only lived that hiatus for like 10 months.
Well, they've been
from the time they beat the All Blacks, they became number one.
Yeah, but
so now
in the old days, not many teams beat New Zealand in New Zealand. Not many teams. South Africa did it in 1956. The Lions did it in 1971, and I was alive for all that. I wasn't for 1956, 1971. And then who beat them? I think France came here and beat us in New Zealand. Not many teams do that. We didn't beat South Africa until the 1990s, 1996. Sean Fitzpatrick team, John Hart took that team. That's the first time we beat South Africa.
81, we stopped playing them because of the fucking protest, didn't we? Like the South Africans did the box.
Yeah, well, we were going to tour in 85, but they were taken to court by Patrick Finnegan and the other guy.
Apartheid and shit, eh?
Yeah, that was bullshit too. I mean, I don't agree with apartheid, but it's none of my business. It's none of our business. What South Africans do in bloody South Africa is their business. Right. We got apartheid here. They're stealing Maori land.
Right.
And all those apartheid fellas here, they will all parkies.
How fucking close to segregation
John Minter. It's here. We got apartheid here, bro. Don't tell Africans what they should do. There's none of, we play rugby. Rugby is about playing the game.
Yeah.
Now, if South Africa want to have apartheid in South Africa, that is their business.
Right.
It's got nothing to do with us.
Unless we are invading and we want South Africa for ourselves, and we're going to change the fucking.
Well, we don't. That's their country. They don't tell us what to do.
No.
I mean, no. So South Africa. Now
you're talking about Ireland
come in. Ireland.
Fucking David Gilgan.
Ireland. So Ireland give us a hiding. Now the World Cup. I remember when Andy Hayden promoted the World Cup. Everyone said he's bloody idiot and what a stupid idea. Andy Hayden was the one that promoted the World Cup way back in the 1980s.
Okay.
And professional rugby, because no one got paid in those days.
Yeah.
They all had to go to work. Rugby players had to go to work. If they want to get paid, they had to go to rugby league, and then they become outsiders. We hate them.
Yeah.
So Andy Hayden said there should be a World Cup and we should pay rugby players. everyone just rubbished them.
Yeah.
1987, I went to every World Cup game in Auckland.
Yeah.
At the Eden Park, the whole lot. The first game, in fact, I saw John. I saw Michael Jones about 2 weeks before that first game. No one knew. He can't hardly speak English. He's a and he came in with a sore knee. He had a knee injury.
Yeah.
And he came to see me and I sent him to the physio. So this is his knee. Young fella, Michael, quiet, shy, polite.
Yeah.
Michael Jones. And I've got, I didn't know all that. I mean, I didn't know who he was. No one knew who he was. He was just this big fella.
The Iceman.
Young fella. Well, anyway, 2 weeks later, he's world famous.
Yeah.
Because he scored those two tries.
At the World Cup.
He scored the first try, and then he scored another try in that first game. And I was at the game. So I was refereeing, and I was refereeing in Auckland, and we got tickets. So we used to be the ushers, and we get a free program, a pie, and we'd watch the games. Because that's what it was. It was amateur.
Yeah.
So, World Cup 1987, we win. I was there. I ran onto the field at the end when they won the World Cup. I was on the paddock. My missus and my mother and my bank manager. They're the three people. I got them in the nice.
And the bank manager.
Definitely the bank manager, Russell Horman, BNZ. He gave me a lot of money. And my wife was happy with my son. My son was about 8 months.
Okay.
So he was there too, but in his mother's cooking. But my son's 37 now.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so now the point is, the World Cup became something.
Yeah.
Everyone said it was going to be rubbish. The teams just drove around on bloody Land Rovers. That was the opening ceremony.
Oh, yeah.
It was nothing. And then some old fella kicked the ball. It wasn't George Napier had died. George Napier did not see the opening of the World Cup.
Oh, I see.
But the first game was New Zealand, Italy.
Right.
And bloody John Curran scored that. He ran the
80 meters stuff.
When I was there, but I was on the south stand. I was on this stand, and we watched Curran run through the whole bloody
team.
I've seen John Curran's the best I've ever seen with my eyes.
Yeah,
he's the best winger I've seen. I saw Jonah, and he was good.
Yeah,
but this Curran fella.
Yeah.
Anyway, so now we have a 4-year World Cup. The games in between don't matter.
Okay.
They don't. Ireland beating us in New Zealand last year doesn't matter. The game that mattered was last Saturday.
Yeah, fucking hell.
That's what mattered.
Yeah.
And we won it.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters.
That was a beautiful game, yeah?
Well, yeah, of course it was. That's the best I've seen.
The phases at the end of the game?
Man, 37 phases. Because I can't, I've only got a little TV. My TV's smaller than that.
Right.
And I've got to wear my glasses and go right up to the TV to see it. And I saw 33 phases. 33 phases. And I'm going, and because I sometimes I won't watch the game. I'll go in the other room and play the piano while the game's on. And I can hear it. But I'm listening for the crowd, and I'm playing the piano, and then if the crowd cheers, I'll go and have a look, see what happens. And so 33 phases, I watched it though. I did watch it, and I was watching them tackle, and then Artie, they're trying to force a penalty.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, mate, Sam Whitelock forced that penalty.
Oh, you had your money on Ireland?
No, I didn't bet. I have bet. I've lost a lot of money betting, but I've stopped betting. I've stopped betting on sport because I will have a heart attack.
Oh,
so when we beat Ireland, that was it, man. And I sent my emails because I got rugby mates all over the world, and so I said, "Well, what do you reckon?" I said, "Well, I'm not predicting any more games because I predicted France, Ireland in the final, and France will win. That's what I predicted."
And they're both out.
Well, there goes. And
Argentina and New Zealand.
Well, if I was betting, I would have lost all my money on Saturday and Sunday because I would have bet on those two teams.
Right. France and Ireland come together
because they were the form number 1, number 2.
Right.
And the
All
Blacks.
Now we're looking at just have a friendly, just throw a fucking.
Well, I think the All Blacks will get in the final, and they'll probably. I can't see England beating.
You got the rose on your chest. You can't see.
Well,
you can't see England beating.
England, they
South
could.
Africa.
Well, I can actually.
I think they can.
I think England.
I don't want them to, because I think the All Blacks have a better chance at winning the World Cup against South Africa.
The final was last Saturday.
That's my mathematics.
And we won. We've won. We've
that
won
was the final.
It was the final. So
because every other team is beatable.
If the All Blacks can get up and I think they will. And I mean, South Africa, England. I'd rather play England in the final
because if the All Blacks beat England, it'll be more of a
because I think it's harder to beat South Africa.
You do?
We on a one-off game with a referee. You don't know what these bloody referees going to do. If you can get a bloody yellow card for a knock-on, and you can't and get sent off.
Was that legitimate? Did you think he meant that?
It's a bit it was his finger.
It was a fucking reactional thing.
But I think the South African it's a bit. I think he did an intentional knock-on.
Right.
And see, this is where Ben O'Keefe. The French want to kill him because Ben O'Keefe on Saturday didn't rule on it's the best
intentional knock-on.
He intentionally interfered with that ball. Right. That would have been a penalty try. That should have been a penalty try, but for Ben O'Keefe. And then Elizabeth, and 2 minutes later, he's scoring.
So O'Keefe's an Irish fucking name, isn't it?
But he's a Kiwi. He's a New Zealand ref. Oh. That's a New Zealand ref. Ben O'Keefe's a New Zealander. He was the referee.
And the French want him dead.
Oh, well, I mean, they had a lot of decisions. Well, even their charge down. Their fellow was about 7 meters off the goal line before he started his run up to kick the ball off. Uh-huh. You can't get from the goal line to the 25 before he kicks it off. Yeah. No, that's impossible. Yeah. And they've looked at both touch judges were under the goal, so they weren't watching for this fellow on the line line out line.
Right. On the outline.
Yeah, and that's where he ran from. And of course, the referee's standing behind the kicker.
5 meter in.
Yeah. Well, he's running along, but he was about 7 meters in front off that line when he started his run.
Yeah.
He was offside.
Yeah.
He was offside. He should have been penalised.
Yeah. So something's fucking
dodgy. That kick should have been done again.
Yeah.
Ben O'Keefe should have asked the TMO to have a look.
Yeah. He's got every team captain's got 2 or 3 chances where they can.
Yeah, but the ref should have done it regardless.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know. I actually didn't see that. I was playing the piano. I didn't watch France and England. No, I didn't want to watch it.
So the World Cup's coming home.
Well, I can't see anyone beating. I can't see anyone beating the All Blacks now, except South Africa.
Except South Africa.
Well, they're the world champs. They're defending their title. And New Zealand's the only team that's won it. New Zealand's the only team that's won it end on end. It's not easy to win the World Cup. And to repeat on the World Cup. Right. That's not easy.
No, back to back.
That's not easy, and only the All Blacks have done it. No one else has done it.
They haven't had a repeat or three-peat, have they?
But I guess
it's just been
in 2019 would have been a three-peat, but we got beaten by England in the semi-final.
And that's because our fucking coach sold us out and went and coached the English, right?
Well,
there was the All Blacks. They won the World Cup. And the next World Cup, they had that.
To me, they were all out of position. He had Bowden Barrett at fullback. He had Scott Barrett at on the side of the scrum when he's a lock. He had all these people playing out of position. Steve Hansen, I blame Steve Hansen for us losing that semi-final against England, like the last World Cup. And Fozzie was there because Fozzie was his deputy.
But who was the guy that actually coached the All Blacks and then he coached England?
Oh yeah, John Mitchell. But John Mitchell played for Waikato. He was the captain of the Waikato team that won the Ranfurly Shield off Auckland in 1993. John Mitchell played basketball with my brother-in-law, but my brother-in-law told him to stick to rugby because he wasn't any good at basketball. He was not bad. He's a big fella and could shoot, but he was never going to be a All Black. So John Mitchell he coached England. He was a failure. He's a failure as a coach.
I thought it was
Eddie Jones. Who?
Henry.
Who? Henry.
Oh, Hart. Was it John?
No.
Oh, fuck.
No. I know that. I mean, I could do Mastermind on the World Cup.
Yeah.
I could do Mastermind.
Better than me, that's
the
for
1987.
sure.
Well,
I can't even name half the fucking All Blacks.
The 1987 World Cup, I could do Mastermind on the All Black teams, the people who played. I know all the players.
There you go.
So to me, the All Blacks, I think if they play England, they will win the World Cup final. If they play South Africa, then I'm not predicting.
No,
because
there you go. Hot off the press. It's up in the air against South Africa. But where it's coming home
Yeah.
to where it rightfully fucking belongs here in Aotearoa.
You only couldn't for yourselves anyway.
Against England. Thank you, my good friend Rawiri
That's our
Gilgan.
podcast.
To the rest of you, that's respect by profession, Dr. Rawiri. And we'll call it there. Thank you very much.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Yeah, the old podcast, eh? I reckon me and my father-in-law